Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blasian Wellness Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Coach Tamika, and I'm joined by my very best friend in the whole wide world, as always, ex Coach Mary. Hey, Mare.
Hi. Now you can finally hear me.
Now I can hear you, and everything is all good. And along with my BFF, we have best-selling author Natasha Hampton. Natasha is the author of
Oh,
one of
sorry.
my favorite books. Now you can give it up, give it up. She is the author of one of my favorite books, High Heel Leadership, right here, everybody. Oh my God, you got
And
it.
the shirt?
And
You still in the shirt?
what's going on? Natasha provides a new dynamic voice in the arena of thought leadership and women empowerment. I mean, she is an award-winning public administration, I can't even talk, I'm so excited, administrator with more than 20 years of very progressively responsible executive, municipal government management, public administration, and operation experience. She has served in so many things, like I couldn't even keep track when I was reading, y'all. She's acting city manager, assistant city manager, chief marketing officer, and director of human resources in the state of Florida and in North Carolina. She holds a master's, everybody, of public administration and a bachelor's of art and political science and public administration. She was named one of South Florida's 50 most powerful and influential leaders, South Florida's 25 most prominent and influential women in business. She was featured in the international publication of Caribbean Today for making a lasting impression on U.S. businesses landscape and has been recognized as a March of Time Women of Distinction. And no, I am not finished. All of that, and this beautiful, fabulous, intelligent woman is doing it all while raising three beautiful kids. Welcome, Natasha. I am so happy you could join us today. Now I'm going
to Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And when you were speaking, I was like, who is that? I want to know her.
You, baby, that's. I was like, oh. Usually I try to kind of wing it, but I said I can't wing this because I'm going to get my
Too much.
I don't want to miss nothing. Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you both Tamika and Coach Tamika and Mary. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for this book that I enjoy. I mean, I've already read a number of times, and I wish I had this book like 20 years ago when I was going through my corporate career, because it would have saved me a lot of embarrassment, to say the least, on how I, handled a lot of situations. So, Natasha, tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you write this fabulous book.
Oh, wow. So a little bit about me that you haven't already.
Yes.
Say it again.
So, I'm a woman that has built my career in the public sector, and a woman that's learned a lot from coming from teenage pregnancy and hiding that pregnancy for the entire 9 months of my pregnancy, to being homeless with my very young child at the time, to growing through pains and trials and tribulations, but also at the same time being showered with blessings because I made it through, and just staying faithful that through hard work and determination and developing the right type of relationships and authentic relationships, that that whatever I was going through, I would be able to still acquire and grow to the next level. And so that when I was actually introduced to a publisher who contacted me and said, "Hey, I've been following you and would like to really talk to you about, writing a book." I was like, "Who, me? I don't have anything to write about, because I don't specialize in any one thing. That was always my thing in my career, is that I never wanted to be boxed in. So I purposely would not specialize in an area. I would learn an area, and I've learned every aspect of municipal government, but I've prided myself in never staying in one area. So she was like, "Well, let's just talk and see what happens," and outbursts this um, series of stories about my experiences, everything from being ambitious without connecting with my family, the things that were important in my friends, to women and how awful we are to each other in the workplace, and how that has contributed and continues to contribute to the detriment of women in organizations. And so that's something that I've rarely read in any book or have talked about in any conference that I've ever gone to, but I certainly wanted to address that here, because it's our dirty little secret, and I wanted to address it. And so I'm really proud of what came out of it, because it's really, honestly, my experiences, as well as my Me Too experience, which I'm sure almost every woman and even some men can relate to.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
got so many great things from your book, and it's like even the quotes in the beginning, the chapter, I love. And you write it in such a way that makes you like take a step back, especially in the chapter about, women basically dragging each other, down in the workforce. I'm sure a lot of us have had that happen. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have some great, powerful women to mentor me, like in my 20s.
Yeah.
But not everybody gets that. And that one who ended up as a mentor started off with, hiring me sight unseen because she thought I was white. And when she saw me, and she said, "I don't like Black people, but you'll sue me. So
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
And
Yeah.
it was very interesting to have someone say that to you and not kind of go crazy, but
Yeah.
I got to understood why. And when I read a part in your book to say, ask them if they would mentor you, that is what ended up happening. But I hear so many stories, so many stories.
Yeah. I appreciate, and I don't want to make the point in that. I think it's really important for the readers to understand that it's about balance, right? So while I have some very challenging and really hard experiences with women, conversely, the majority of my tribe are women, because as many women as I've had to not cultivate a relationship, I've had that many plus more to cultivate the relationship. And I talk about finding your tribe. It really breaks my heart to hear women say, "I don't have many female friends." That breaks my heart, because oh wow, look Mary. That it does, because if you can't find solace and comfort and guidance and example from women, then, and particularly because we are women, how sad is that state of affairs when we've come to a place where we can't collaborate and come together, and not saying that we have to agree, because none of us are robots, but certainly we can respect each other's position, and we can also celebrate that in that woman that we may not have ourselves, but we can celebrate each other because we all have something special to bring to the table, every single one of us. And also, I'm a very spiritually inclined person. I have a strong faith, and to me, it's disrespectful to God to think that he can't bless you and bless me at the same time. I think that's disrespectful, and that's the way we interact with each other. Like, there's only one position, so I'm gonna beat you down to get that position, and then when I do that, you'll never. I don't even want to see you go further because I need to be the only one shining, and there's just something so awful about that. But hopefully, high heel leadership, the art of being a woman in power, is about the growing of leadership with us personally first, and then we can spill over and pour into others in our workplace.
Yes. Yes. I know my daughter right now, when that's her favorite line. She goes, "Ma, I don't have any female friends." She goes, "Look, the ones I had, look what they did. No more female friends." And I said, "Well, baby, that's just God showing you what not to have in your life. And now you know what to look for. But there's plenty of women out there that can be your friend. They're all not like that. Don't judge the whole gender by those 10 people."
You and Mary are perfect examples of that. Both you and Mary are perfect examples of that. I mean, you're doing this and you're doing it together, and I'm so proud, and I'm also honored by that, because the both of you are the examples that we need to see and that we need to continue to see, especially our young girls growing up. We need to be able to see that it's possible and that it's doable, and that working together actually builds a stronger, firmer foundation.
That's the reason why we started this. First of all, the book. I'm not a big reader, but I have to say I am almost done with the book. I actually sat and read for an entire afternoon, which I never ever do. I will always find something else to do but read. And Tanika will tell you, either I will fall asleep or my mind just starts wandering, and then I forgot that I was reading. And I was so engaged, and I felt like you were talking to me. And I said to Tanika, why couldn't I have this book like 15 years ago?
Wow.
With the one thing that stood out to me when you were talking about confidence, you could speak that you're confident, you could say you're confident, but then if you don't appear, like your posture, when you wrote that you were walking down the hall or you were walking somewhere but your head was down, I walk with my head down, because a part of me, even though I'm still a work in progress, and even though I've gotten over a lot of my insecurities, there are some times that I still don't feel very confident, and I'll tend to walk with my head down, especially if I see another female who I think in my brain is better than me because she's wearing something cuter, or she's younger, or she just appears like, a professional. I'll automatically think, oh, she's smarter. And I'll just kind of like, no eye contact, and just kind of just move it along just so she doesn't see me. And I've been working on that, because, when you say like, we should all work together, and there's enough room for everybody, and the whole S factor with, I am guilty of that. And when I raised my hand and said that I don't have a lot of female friends, it's not so much me, because I like everybody. It's people that do it to me for whatever reason. If I'm like, oh, let's do this together, and I think they're my friend, and then behind my back they're stabbing me,
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, and then when Tamika and I decided to do the podcast, we were like, you know what, let's do this for empowering other women. Let's show them, like, you know, we'll join forces, we'll find other women who are powerful and they have a message, and showcase them all to anybody who wants to watch, anyone who wants to listen. And it's grown tremendously in the year that we've been doing this, and we've met so much amazing women.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish this book. I swear, I've been doing all the active. Look, I even highlighted. I don't do that ever. I'm just like, yeah. I filled out. I even answered like some of the stuff. Like I was working. I said, yeah. And then some of them, like, I didn't have an answer, so I was like, oh, that's not applicable, NA. You know, and I just kept going, and I'm like almost to the end. I'm at the end of the book, but
I'm so proud of you. I'm so
proud of myself. I'm like, yeah, girl, read this book. It's actually dented and everything.
And you know, it's funny because when I was writing it, I honestly didn't write it. I didn't have author in mind. I didn't write the book because I wanted to be an author. Because remember, I didn't think I had anything to write about anyway. And so I didn't write it to have an author title. I didn't write it about book sales. I wrote because it was, for me, a recollection of the experiences, stopping even for a moment to celebrate, because I'm the type of person, it's from one thing to the next. So
yep,
if
I just read that.
One thing, if I achieved one thing, it was, okay, well, you know, what's next? Never really sitting in that growth and that development. So sometimes when we don't do that, when it comes to us again, we tend to reinvent the wheel in how we address things because we never took the time to reflect on how it was handled previously. And so when we can do that, take the time and reflect on our experiences, everything, I think that it allows us to grow in a different way. Mary, when you talked about your experiences with women and it not being you, women that you were attracting. And I say the women that you were attracting because I believe in energy. I believe in the type of energy that we put out there, and intentional or not, subconsciously, we are attracting what we are feeling subconsciously. And because you were experiencing a lack of confidence, you were attracting people to take advantage of that.
Tamika says that all the time. I don't know what kind of people you be attracting. And I'm like, I don't want them. She's like, oh, they're coming to you somehow. They're finding you.
Yeah, and it's true. It's because it's almost like, oh my gosh, it's like when you can be free and clear of ants at a picnic, right, at the park. At the minute you take out a sandwich, they are everywhere. Right? Like they are everywhere, right? And so your energy is your sandwich. As you are displaying that, right? There are ants, there are people that's out there that's trying to, they're actually searching for who they can next victimize. I mean, and it's unfortunate, and I don't even know if they're consciously aware that that's what they're doing. But I would just press upon you to be mindful of that which makes you Mary, because there's no one else like you. It's just not. There's no one else like you. And though we can look at other women, and that's natural to look at another woman and look at all of the things that we see in her that we would like for ourselves. I promise you, she's doing the exact same thing. I promise you that.
Yeah.
I promise she's doing the exact same thing with you. But I want high heel leadership to be the bridge that allows us to walk across the other side and bridge gaps between us. And for men too. This book isn't isolated to women. It's for men also, because we need them. We need men to help us to ascend to leadership positions where we can make a difference.
Mm-hmm. I love this section. Well, I loved all of it, but the section in particular, because I'll keep saying, I love this section. Let's get it out the way. I love the whole gosh dang book. Was the part about finding your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I can just speak for myself that was very hard for me to do, you know, coming from, you know, the inner city, and then living in the projects and coming up in a culture that, you know, girls are supposed to be seen and not heard, and then losing your parents, and then having all that anger and not really taught conflict resolution, so then you fight all the time. And it just took me a long time to learn how to speak without anger, without cursing people out. I mean, it took me a very long time. But that change, that's when my life started to change, when I started to practice forgiveness and to learn that I can speak because I am worthy. It doesn't matter what this person said or that person said, or, you know, always trying to prove myself because, you know, I'm like the darkest woman in my family, and, you know, most of them are light and beautiful. And for me at that time, that was my mindset. You know, if you look light, you're cuter, and you're dark, and you're not. And so, darky, you better shut up. You know, so that's how I grew up. But when I read that part about finding, you know, your voice, and then, you know, I always think of my daughter, and I'm like, boy, that girl found her voice the day she was born, and she's still. I mean, it could be something, I guess, you know, to her is big, to me it's small. She's like, Mom, I just had to tell her that was not nice. So things like that. And then the age difference, you know, you talked about the millennials and the boomers, and I see a lot of that because, you know, I have a young daughter, and hearing how they think, I love it. Like they're just so innovative and creative. And I think, oh my God, I wish I was their age, until they say something and you'd be like, oh, that's right, they are not. Like, no, you know, bridging that gap. So like, how did you find your voice? Did it happen over time? Or did you just like wake up one day and says, you know what, enough is enough?
It certainly happened over time. Through, you know, watching examples of women. I can remember, I'm not exactly sure where I was when Anita Hill went public with her experience. And I could recall thinking, oh my gosh, her career is over. I could recall that vividly, thinking that, oh my God, you know, that here is a woman who, before Me Too, hashtag Me Too, was anything. This was the groundbreaking, you know, this was the woman, at least in our life, in our generation, right? Because we know that the women before us, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, they too dealt with their own Me Too. But for a woman prominence like Anita Hill. She was the example for me of voice regardless of consequence for her personally. It was almost like she was doing that knowing that this was not going to end well for her, but creating a space for women after her to speak and to find voice. And so for me, it certainly was over time that I developed my voice, knowing when to speak it, how to speak it, what was deemed appropriate to speak, because I want to be also have women be mindful that the goal here, just like Anita Hill, was to make sure that we don't shut the door for women after us to find their voice. And finding your voice isn't always about speaking, it's about strategizing too.
Mm-hmm.
And even collaborating, getting with, sometimes when we can't be the voice for ourselves, make sure you're collaborating with those who can voice for you. So finding your voice it encompasses a lot of different ways to do that, but certainly over time and experiences, I've developed mine. And one of the things that I appreciate about what you just said, Coach Tamika, with your daughter, and this is what I find in my daughter, it's almost like we live vicariously through them somewhat, because they have a voice. My daughter had a voice long before I did, and rather than talk her out of that, I help her to promote it, and that's because of the work that we do in that. We help our daughters find theirs too.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm still trying to find my voice.
You're still trying to find your voice?
Yeah, that was the most difficult thing for me, is, you know, speaking. That's what you mean, right? Like speaking up for yourself. Is that what you mean by your voice? Yeah, I'm still trying to find that.
Well, speaking up for yourself, speaking up for others. There's something that I'm going through right now, actually, and without going into detail, is I believed a woman when she said that she was inappropriately addressed. And I spoke that truth out loud, because I should, and we all should. And but I don't know if I could have done that 10 or 15 years ago. But certainly have come to a place where I understand that my voice is not my own. And when we can learn that our voices are not our own, it's not for our benefit to find a voice. Our benefit is for others, for us to find our voice, because we are all portals. We all work to help someone else. And so if I'm given a platform to do that, then my voice becomes that much more impactful and necessary for that person. So my voice, finding my voice, wasn't just about me, but it was also about finding it for those who are voiceless.
And you're finding yours, Mary.
Yeah, I just have to, when Natasha spoke about the strategizing, I stuck with strategy, because I'm you know, like I said, I'm still a work in progress, and you know, sometimes if I feel like someone is attacking me, my anger sets in, and then, you know, you don't think clearly. So, well, I don't think clearly. Let me not say you. I don't think clearly. So I am working on it, and I am definitely making notes from your suggestions in the book, because, like I said, I really felt like you were speaking to me, and it wasn't easy, not easy, but it wasn't, you know, with all these like big words that I couldn't understand. it was very relatable, you know, and I enjoyed reading, you know, the things that you went through. And the one thing, and I remember I told Tamika, I was like, oh my God, I love this. When you spelled out fear, I was like, oh my God, I said, this is the best. It gave me goosebumps. False evidence appearing real. I'm like, yes, yes. I'm like, where was this book 15 years ago? I should have had this like 20 years ago. I was like, damn it. Where were you, Natasha?
Unfortunately, I was in fear. I didn't have a voice.
She was getting everything ready back then to bring it to us now.
Exactly.
You know, and then a part of me thinks like, damn, you know, you're already getting older, you know, and I feel like I'm starting too late in life, and I hate to think that way, but you know, I feel like I wish I just had this sooner. I wish I knew then the things that I know now. And this podcast, it's, you know, it's brought so many different women, and I've learned a lot from, you know, all our guests. But I think I'm learning like the most from you. So it's like my little guidebook.
I think it's important, Mary, to trust the process and trust that the information that you receive today, you could not have received it the same way 10 years ago.
Amen.
You just talked about how when someone comes at you and you feel that they are attacking you, that you pop off. Well, I can only imagine what that was like 10, 20 years ago. I can only imagine how you would have went off like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. But
I wasn't very verbal.
No, but your facial expression says a lot.
Oh.
And so I certainly would not have messed with you.
Little old me.
Yeah, little old you.
I ain't messing the fool with you, Mary, not at all, because I can already tell you could throw a few blows if you needed to. But
you told her?
I didn't say a word. She felt that energy.
But trusting the process, in that when we receive information, it's our time to receive it. And that there is something in it that I don't think anything is mistake. I don't think anything is coincidental. I think when we receive it, we're supposed to receive it at that time, in that moment, because there's a shift happening for you. And to take from that and believe that it came to you exactly when it was supposed to. Yes. Exactly when it was supposed to. And so what is happening in your life that finding your voice, graduating from a 4-inch to a 5-inch heel? What's happening in your life where you now have this information and you're ready to be transformed, but you haven't figured that out yet?
Ooh, she just gave me goosebumps. That's all I'm gonna say. You just gave me goosebumps, because you know what, Sunshine? You already know what the answer to that question is. So we're not gonna put it out there right now, but you already know. So she's exactly right. And it was some things in her book when I was reading them, and I was saying, oh my God, this is for Mary. This is like this part's for Mary. This part's for Mary. Oh, this part's for, oh, you know, you are so right. It is coming to you at the perfect time.
I think so. You know what?
And
because I am going through something at work.
Yeah.
And this actually helped me from doing something that probably would have had me unemployed.
Arrested.
Maybe, I was just about to say, maybe arrested or fined. And then I had to I took a deep breath, but let me tell you, when I was reading and then I went to work, I went into the office, I was walking around like I owned a building. That's how I
Wow.
walked around.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to keep, because I think somewhere in the book you wrote that the confidence shouldn't come from, I guess, like the position that you hold. So when I read that, I'm like, you know what? She's right. Why should I walk around like I'm nobody because my position is low?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because first of all, the person that's actually in a higher position, he doesn't belong there anyway.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
what I do want to speak about a little bit, because we did kind of mention it, and I think it's very, very important, is the S factor, the dirty little secret, because I'm sure women heard that and then we kind of just like flew by it. I think we should, speak about that and your experiences with that. And like you said, every woman has experienced it at one time,
Yeah.
and we've done it to others as well.
Mhm. Mhm. So the S factor
Mm.
is same. I've coined it the S factor, but it is the same sex sabotage. And we talk all day long. I have been to 100,000 women empowerment conferences. I've done 10,000 women roundtables, and we've talked about every issue facing women except women and the issues we face with other women. And of every chapter in this book, this chapter is the chapter that I get the most reaction out of. And I get reaction from all the chapters, but this one specifically tends to hit home more for women because it's what we deal with, and it's crazy because women hold a very small percentage of CEO or managerial level positions, top executive level positions, C-suite and E-suite positions in the country. We hold very few, but yet we are 57% of the workforce in the country.
Mm.
If we hold the smallest amount of executive level positions, why is there so much sabotage amongst women in the organization? Well, one of the reasons why is because there are limited executive level positions in corporations. So we're like crabs in a barrel. We're fighting for very little that exists. It's why I say that, it's really important that men understand why women at the helm is so necessary. It's necessary for bottom line, and it's necessary because women bring innate skills that does not come easily to our counterparts, and that also cuts down on the unhealthy competition that we're facing in these organizations. The other part of that is when you talk about confidence, we talked about that earlier. So many women say, "Oh, I'm a boss lady, I'm a boss bee, I'm a queen." But deep down, that's honestly not what they're feeling. The majority of the women that are in C-suite positions are some of the most insecure women I've ever met. They really are. And I know quite a few, and I've spoken to quite a few, very insecure. And I believe that because their entire development was developed for the C-suite position, but the self-development, the loving self, believing that regardless of how many degrees I have, or if I have none at all, that I am still the queen bee, that I am still a boss bee, that I am still that chick. Not many women believe that they are if they're not in a position where the title says chief operating something or chief this or chief that. So while we've done very well at developing ourselves from an educational standpoint, we have done poorly with developing ourselves as women, and loving ourselves just because we are women.
Mm, mm. That is very true. That is very true. That S factor is it's no joke, and it's sad, and especially for me when, sometimes I expect it from a white woman. I just do. It doesn't bother me. It's like, okay. It's when it comes from
Yeah,
a Black person.
yeah,
It just, it's something about it that it, it it just really drives me crazy. And I'll never forget, I used to work for Pearson Education, one of the biggest publishing textbook companies in the world. And this new girl come up, and she's a Black girl. And I'm already happy when I see another Black person, because it was just only 5 of us and I was the only woman. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, another Black girl, yay, yay, yay. And this girl, because I was Black, she thought I was an administrative assistant. So, and that's how well, I understand because you're an administrative assistant. I'm like, no, I'm your boss. I'm the director of sales. And she was like, oh, oh, well, that's different. I didn't expect that. I said, oh, well, neither did I. It's that. And I don't know why. It bothers me to this day when I see that with, Black women, because I'm a Black woman. When I see it, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like sometimes it just hurts.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I always have to pray to God and, have him make me a little bit more tolerant, because it seems like as I'm getting older, I'm getting patient with some things, but this is one thing that I'm not very patient in, because
yeah,
of the mindset of, we already have so many people and so many things against us as women. Why should any woman be against another woman? But, being Black and you being Black, why can't I not celebrate you? Why can't I celebrate Natasha?
mm-hmm,
Why do
mm-hmm,
why
mm-hmm.
can't I just say, oh my goodness, this is a wonderful thing. She's doing so many good things, and
Yeah,
just leave it at that. Sometimes I may say that this heifer, God, I'm so jealous, but
yeah,
joking. And it's like, but thank God for people like, people like you, any woman that has the power to change, because so much is going on now. I mean, they got votes going on where people don't want us to have birth control. What
yeah,
kind of craziness is that?
right, right,
So while we're hating each other, some of us, we need
yeah,
to be joining forces, because if some people get this way in this country, the simple thing of birth control, you won't have access to.
mm-hmm,
Your employer
mm-hmm.
can say no.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
The when we talk about, you know, women having difficulties as it is, we have to recognize that uh, women that are non-white have a harder time, and that's facts. I don't have to
Yeah.
go into that. We know that
Mm.
it's hard for women, period. But women that are of color, and or other ethnicity have even more of a challenge, to break the ceiling, to break the glass ceiling. It's tough enough, but certainly, again, I think that the lack of opportunity just continues to have this really ugly effect on us. And if you're outspoken, or you
Mm.
are what some women or other women may consider attractive, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Mm.
Um, and so if you are considered what some women think are attractive, or you're outspoken, uh, you you're going to have a tough time, and it shouldn't be that way, because women make up such a large part of the workforce, that if we're busy fighting each other, why do we need to ask for collaboration to create opportunity and position, if we're just going to fight each other along the way? One thing I love about men, and how men really hate each other, but when it comes down to the business, they're gonna work it out.
That's
They're
right.
gonna work it out. They're not, if they have to go on a golf course and swing a club, or if they have to get behind closed doors, they're gonna work it out, because they understand. They just have a different dynamic in how they uh, deal. But also in that is that they're not really competing the same way we're competing, because there's a host of positions for them, but there's not very many for women. And so we just have to keep up the good fight, and know that sometimes it just takes a mighty two, the mighty two, Coach Tamika and Mary. It takes a mighty two to broadcast a conversation, and get women to start talking, or if you're not talking, you're at least thinking about how you are either contributing to the problem of the S factor, or you're doing something to eradicate the problem. But we all have to acknowledge first that the S factor is real. It's real, it exists, for whatever reason, and that there is not one woman deserving of another woman sabotaging them. Not one.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Now, I can have you here for another 5 hours, and but I know you got a life. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. It's just too much. You have to get the book. You have to get the book, because there is so many pearl nuggets, as my grandmother used to say, that are in this book, that really we could still be on here for another hour and still wouldn't even get to the middle of the book. We are going to carry on this conversation with women with the S factors, and hopefully, we will be able to unite and just not have the animosity and the nonsense.
Yeah.
Because we need more Natashas. We need more women that are out there that are going to help with our rights as women on so many different areas.
Yeah.
So, Natasha, see, I'm already losing my voice. I want to thank you so much for being here. You are just a delight, and I'm so honored to have met you, I'm always talking crap about social media, but let me tell you, social media led me to this book. I'm just saying. And it led me to Natasha, and I feel like I've known you forever, and I haven't, and that's very weird for me in a loving way. It's like, oh my God, it's like you're part of our family now.
Well, thank you so much, and I so appreciate that, because like I said, I've been going through some things, and sometimes because of someone else's issue, they project it on you, and then that starts to seep into your spirit, and then you start to almost at least consider whether it's true or not. And so I encourage authenticity, no matter how hard that is for some to be okay with or not. You be authentically you, because you are wonderfully made, each and every single one of you. To every woman that's listening, you are uniquely, wonderfully, and beautifully made. Be authentically yourself. Be unapologetic about it. Step out and do something that you didn't think that you could, or that fear may be keeping you from doing, but it's all in your head. If you can get outside of yourself, step into who you are. It is time. It is time for transformation. It is time for change. It is time for you to run the world. This world needs all of us, and we can all coexist collaboratively together. Can I give my website address?
Of course. Give all your information.
You could reach out to me. I'm on natashahampton.com. That's natashahampton.com. You can reach me on Instagram and Facebook at High Heel Leadership. That's at High Heel Leadership. And on LinkedIn as Natasha Hampton, and on Twitter at Heel Leadership. But High Heel Leadership, The Art of Being a Woman in Power. Grab your copy.
Yes,
and
definitely.
And how you can reach me is even here. And I don't charge to talk. So if you want to talk about something in here, my phone number, everything is available. Call if you're dealing with something that you just want to kind of talk through. I don't profess to have all the answers, but I will profess to have an ear, and I'll listen, and together we can hopefully come up with something that helps you to get past and resolve whatever it is that you're going through, so that you can continue your ascension to leadership. I from the bottom of my heart, love women, and I desire for us to come together finally the way that we should. High Heel Leadership, I think, touches on everything, at least for my journey, and I pray that it touches you in a very positive way.
Thank you so much, guys. And all of Natasha's information is going to be at the bottom of this video. And if you need anything, reach out to her, reach out to us. Now that she told me I can call her anytime, talk about the book, she shouldn't have said that, y'all, because y'all know
I know, that's what I was going to say. I was like,
oh, sure. I mean, I'll be like,
that's what you doing?
what's going on, Natasha? Natasha might ban me from social media. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Mary. Love you guys. We will see you next time. Get the book.